Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to crack a classic GCSE computer science question, one of those ones that always seems to trip people up. But don't worry, by the end of this, you'll see exactly how to lock in every single one of those 6 marks.
You know the ones I'm talking about, right? The fill-in-the-blank questions. You see that paragraph with all the gaps, a list of words, and suddenly your mind just goes blank. It happens. Look, they can feel a bit tricky, but really, they're just checking if you know the core concepts. Once you get those, these are basically free marks.
So let's break this down together. I promise by the time we're done here, you're not just going to have the answers, you're going to have a solid strategy to tackle these questions with total confidence.
Okay, let's dive in. The question we're looking at is from the OCR J277/01 Computer Systems paper, and it's all about utility software. Now, it's worth 6 marks, and you know as well as I do, 6 marks can be a huge deal for your final grade. So let's make sure we know how to get every single one.
So here's the deal. We've got 2 paragraphs describing some utility software. Our job? Fill in 6 blanks using a list of keywords they give us. The name of the game here is precision. You've got to pick the exact right word. Let's get started with that first paragraph.
All right, part 1. This first chunk is all about something super important, keeping our data safe. Locking it down so no one else can read it. We're talking, of course, about encryption. So here's the first bit of the puzzle. We've got software changes data using a blank. And then, if the changed data is intercepted, it cannot be blank. So think about it for a second. What kind of software are we talking about here? What's the word that just clicks into that first blank?
But before we just slap an answer in there, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What is encryption? Well, it's basically just scrambling data. You take something readable, like a text message, and turn it into complete gibberish that nobody can understand. The locked box analogy is perfect. You're putting your message in a box and snapping the lock shut.
And boom, that gives us our first answer. The word they're looking for, the one straight from the mark scheme, is encryption. So, encryption software. Simple as that. First mark, done.
Okay, so if we have a locked box, how do you open it? You need a key, right? It's the exact same idea in computing. The software uses a key, which is just a bit of secret information, like a password, to do the scrambling. And more importantly, it's the only thing that can be used to unscramble it back.
And that leads us right into our second blank. Encryption software changes data using a what? A key. It's a perfect fit. Without that key, the data is just useless noise. Awesome, that's 2 marks down already.
All right, last part of this first section. If some hacker intercepts the data, but they don't have the key, what happens? Well, it can't be understood. Now, that's a great word choice because the data is there, it exists, but it's just meaningless. The actual information is totally hidden. And that's our 3rd mark. See? Not so bad. Okay, paragraph 1 is done. Now, let's switch gears. We're moving away from security and onto something different, system performance. This next part is all about how we keep a computer running nice and fast.
So, to get this, picture your hard drive as a big bookshelf. Now, when a disk is fragmented, it's like that bookshelf is a total mess. Imagine trying to read a book, but chapter 1 is on the top shelf, chapter 2 is on the bottom, and chapter 3 is wedged behind another book somewhere. To read the whole thing, you have to run all over the place, and that is slow. Now look at this. This is the aftershot. The utility software we're talking about is like a super efficient librarian. It comes along, finds all the scattered parts of your book, and puts them all together, in order, on one shelf. Everything's neat and tidy. So what's this tidying up process called? It's defragmentation. It takes all those split up files and moves them so that all their parts are consecutive, which is just a fancy way of saying they're all right next to each other in a nice continuous line. And there you go. Those are our next 2 keywords. We're on a roll. Okay, but why? Why does the computer even care if the files are neat? What does it actually improve? What gets faster when everything is all lined up? The answer is access. Think about it. When all the parts of the book are in one place, the little read head on the hard drive doesn't have to jump all over the disk to find the next bit. It can just glide along and read the whole file in one smooth go. This makes data access way, way faster. And that is our 6th and final mark. We did it. So, we've cracked both parts. We've figured out what all the words mean and where they fit. Now, let's put it all together and look at what that perfect, full marks answer looks like. And there it is, the complete paragraph. Read it through.
See how every single keyword just slots in perfectly and makes sense? This is what the examiner wants to see. It's clear, it's precise, and it's 100% correct. Feel free to pause here and just let it sink in.
Okay, awesome. So what are the big things you need to remember from this for your revision? Let's do a super quick recap of those 6 key ideas.
Here they are, your 6 essential keywords. You've got encryption, key, and understood for the security part, and then defragmentation, consecutive, and access for the performance side. Just focus on really knowing what these words mean. If you can remember these simple definitions, you'll be absolutely golden when a question like this pops up. And I'll leave you with one final thought. We've nailed encryption and defragmentation today, but they're not the only system utilities out there, right? So as you continue your revision, have a think. What other tools are working behind the scenes to keep your computer running smoothly? That's a great little thing to chew on. Good luck with your exams.